Hi there everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Verdict. With such a good meeting at Newmarket on Friday and Saturday, I'm going to concentrate mostly on some performances from there throughout those couple of days. But we're going to start at Kempton Park, where I think we identified a horse who is miles ahead of his mark, trained by John and Thady Gosden. This was Wednesday night, and it was over 1 mile and 3 furlongs, this handicap. Humanity was the 7-4 favourite. Nassau Basti was 5-1, Mantoug was 7s, 17-2 Pride of Priory, Nada King 9s and 10s, and bigger the rest. And it's Humanity who I'm going to concentrate on, the very easy winner of this contest, going in by 6 lengths. Stall 12 he came from, beating Sovereign Spirit from 3, Duke of Oxford from stall number 10. He's ridden by Oisin Murphy, who's going to figure quite a lot in the verdict this week. He's been getting on some very good horses of late, and he was brilliant from the stalls on this horse. The danger is that he's going to be posted wide. Here he is in these red colours, just in between horses, just there, and he could get posted 4 or 5 wide, but he's going to work for a position early on, and in doing so he's going to use up a little bit of petrol, and therefore we give this horse a lot more credit for what he achieved in the closing stages. Murphy looking to cross and clear those inside him. There he goes. And now he can just tuck in and sit nice and handy in second place. That's good work from a wide draw from Oisin Murphy. Sometimes very hard to get a position from stall 12 or there or thereabouts at Kempton, but he's got it. The early gallop was quite strong, and then, as they always do at Kempton, they steadied down the back. But Murphy now is in an absolutely perfect position to strike on Humanity, who does not let him down in the closing stages. The race overall was quite steadily run. Finishing speed percentage for the winner recorded by Course Track as being 108.13. That means that the winner, Humanity, ran the final 3 furlongs just over 8% quicker than he ran the rest of the race. So quite steadily run, saving petrol, and then able to use that petrol in the closing stages and show, for a horse who stays 1.5 miles, a very good turn of foot. He put his rivals away comfortably, and his mark of 82 clearly underestimates him. There's going to be a lot more to come from him, and I would venture to say that he might be a 100+ horse in the making. He's just about to ease his way to the front, and this is going to be his 2nd win on the bounce. And why has he suddenly come good? Blinkers is the answer. Blinkers have completely transformed this horse. Now he's got his act together, wearing the headgear, and he quickens here from the 3 to the 2. He's impressive. He shows a sharp turn of foot. 9th furlong 11.6, 10th furlong 11.25. That's good for a stayer. Nothing can go with this horse who's quickened off the front, and he's pulling further and further away in the closing stages to win by 6 lengths in the end. This was an impressive turn of foot from this son of Roaring Lion, and I think there's going to be an awful lot more to come from him. The second horse, Sovereign Spirit, travelled well through the race, but just couldn't match the turn of speed that the winner showed. Now, yes, he was at a positional advantage over his rivals in that at quite a steadily run race, he was able to sit handy and then kick and fire in 11.25, which killed his rivals off. But nonetheless, he's way better than his mark, and he's way better than these. And I think with the speed that he showed out there, he'd be all right at 10 furlongs. He'd be okay coming back in trip to 10, because he has got a lot of pace, this horse. And providing the blinkers continue to work, then I can see him winning again, and certainly stepping up in grade. I'm sure that they'll try and find a decent handicap for him before the end of the season. With that in mind, he's entered at Newmarket in a pretty decent handicap on the 13th of October. So that might be the place they decide to go with Humanity, if he's none the worse for this tremendous effort at Kempton on Wednesday night, surging clear of his rivals. You don't often see many 6-length winners of handicaps at Kempton that look pretty competitive on paper, but he won by that far with a sharp turn of foot, and he's a stayer to follow. Okay, for the rest of the show, we're going to turn our attentions to the Cambridgeshire meeting at Newmarket. Friday, first of all, here are the winners and times. And the first thing that strikes me from the times is that the ground was, for this time of year, quick. Some very good times out there. Mutasabek, who dominated the 3:35, he dipped under standard, 1.19 under. That's a very good time. And there was also a superb time from Time Lock, who completed 1.5 miles in 2:26.91, nearly a second and a half under standard. Definitely good to firm ground, and 2 very good time performances. I want to concentrate on the 2:25 and what Time Lock achieved. And I would venture to say that this was the best time performance of the week in the UK. This is how they bet for what was the Dubai Stakes. It's a Group 3, 4-1 joint favourites, Novakai and Sweet Memories. Then it was 9-2 Time Lock, nicely found in the market, in from 13-2, Running Lion 11-2, and the same for Sea Theme, 10s and Bigger the rest. This is a tremendous performance from this filly. From stall 11, Ryan Moore booked for the Charltons. Sweet Memories from 1 was second under Frankie. Running Lion from 9 was back in 3rd place. This is what happened out there on the Rowley Mile, on really good, fast ground. Horses letting themselves down, achieving decent times. How good is it to see that? Clarks of the course not overwatering and getting lovely ground for horses to be able to really flash their ability. And this was a fantastic performance from Time Lock. We'll just pick out the filly here. There she is in the pink cap, just rear of mid-division at this stage under Ryan Moore. Now that's never a good position on the Rowley Mile. You really want to be prominent. Well, making the running is good there. Peripatetic making the running at this stage for the Roger Varian team. You don't want to be too far back. It's hard to make up ground. But this filly made an absolute mockery of that, the way she surged to the front. And she did so in a race that is strongly run. Finishing speed percentage, according to Course Track, this for the winner was 97.97. So the final 3 furlongs, she's just a tiny bit slower than she ran the rest of the race. But that doesn't tell the full tale, for she surged clear of her rivals to win very comfortably in the end by just over 4 lengths. And how does she do that when her finishing speed percentage has dipped under 100, when she's actually slowing down? It's a mid-race move that does it. Ryan Moore decides, perhaps thinking that front runners or prominent racers are favoured at the Rowley Mile, decides to make quite an early move. Furlong 8, 11.49, and then furlong 9, she went 11.14, followed by an 11.98. So she's quickened mid-race. She's about to do that now. Ryan wants her handy, and he asks her to pick up. And I suspect she probably surprised him with the way she flew to the front here. Now, she did get tired late on, but all the work was done mid-race by her, where she was much quicker than her rivals. And now, without really Ryan getting too urgent, she's just about found herself in front. She's got to Roaring Lion. Far left is Frankie and Sweet Memories in the pink cap and the black stripes. Time Lock's gone though, away and gone. Surged to the front, recording a final 3 furlongs of 37.49. The runner-up could only muster 37.96. She's half a second quicker than her rivals through those final 3 furlongs. And that 8th, 9th and 10th furlong, when from rear of mid-division, she surged to the front, was incredibly impressive. On a different track, with perhaps her run timed later than that, she might well have been even more impressive. She's got a fine turn of foot. She's miles better than these fillies. And remember, Roaring Lion, who's run very well in 3rd place, Running Lion rather, by Roaring Lion, she was in line for the Oaks. Everyone thought she might be a real Oaks contender. She's had a few training problems, but these are not mugs that this filly has beaten. These are good horses in behind, and she's absolutely thrashed them and surely deserves a chance in Group 1 company now. She's not had many runs. She's a filly of immense potential. With that in mind, she's entered in the Kipco Fillies and Mares at Ascot. Some may think that is a tad fanciful. I don't. I really don't. I think the caveat to that is she'll want decent ground. She floundered a bit at Goodwood in heavy ground when they had all that rain on the Sussex Downs. That didn't suit her. Decent ground, the Kipco Fillies and Mares, she's a live one for that, because what she did here was sensational. A big triple-digit speed figure for Time Lock, and she's with the Charltons and, well, Harry, who's taken over the licence now. His father will be in the background, of course, supervising, but the licence is Harry's now, and he's going to inherit a very good filly who could possibly win him a Group 1. That was sensational stuff from Time Lock. The next 3 races we're going to have a look at on the verdict concern 2-year-olds at Newmarket Friday and Saturday. We're going to start with the Rockfell Stakes, Group 2 for the fillies. 7 furlongs, Shawari went off favourite at 13-8. 5-2, Yilang Yilang for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. Carla's Way, 7-2, and it was 12s and bigger the rest. Going to concentrate on Carla's Way from stall number 1, who takes the Rockfell for James Doyle and Simon and Ed Crisford. Shawari was in 2nd place, came from 6. Yilang Yilang from 2 was 3rd, and Spiritual from 5 was back in 4th place. Send them on the way, we'll pick them up in a moment for you. 2 1/4 lengths was the winning margin in the end for Carla's Way, who was really impressive here and won in a pretty good time as well. We'll look at Vandeek's success later on in the show, and this filly was a shade quicker than Vandeek, I think about 1/10 of a second, so that puts that into context a little bit. The early gallop, courtesy of Spiritual, who'd impressed on debut, was strong. She'd won at Leicester Spiritual. Maybe a bit of a surprise they decided to make the running with her on just a 2nd start upped in grade, but that's what they did. And Carla's Way sat here. She had a massive positional advantage over her main pursuers, who were back in the rear pack, and they could never really get to her. Shawari was slowly away, and he sat last at this stage, finishes 2nd. Yilang Yilang is on the rail and finishes 3rd, and surges late on. And we'll look at her sectionals in a moment or two. But just look at the difference, the positional difference. There's the winner, and there's the 2nd. Now, I heard it suggested that Shawari was never going. I'm not having that. Shawari travelled pretty strongly, just fluffed the start really, and they've just ceded Carla's Way a good advantage. What, 6, 7 lengths, maybe a little bit more, and the winner was simply better placed than the 2nd and 3rd. Now, the winner recorded a finishing speed percentage 102.86. So if you think she's able to run just about half the race, 2.86% quicker than she ran the rest of it, how are you going to catch her? If she can run quicker in the final 3 furlongs than the rest of the race, and you give her 5 or 6 lengths, she's going to be very hard to catch. She quickened through the 4th and the 5th furlong. The 4th furlong was the impressive one, 11.03. Gained a couple of lengths on her rivals there in that 4th furlong. And then her 5th was 11.32, a 6th 11.04, and then she's on absolute fumes late on. Final furlong of 12.23, 3 sub-12s, followed by one that was verging on 12.5 seconds. So she's got a good lead from Spiritual, she's established an advantage over her rivals, she's quickened, and then she's got tired in the final furlong. She could return to 6 furlongs, I have absolutely no doubt. She's a very speedy filly. But what of Shawari? She's shaped very well, is the answer to how she ran here. She was fastest in the 5th furlong, she was fastest in the 6th in pursuit of the winner, but she just ceded too much ground. And finally, the 3rd horse, Yilang Yilang, in here. Surely she wants further. She's ready for a mile plus already. She was fastest in the final furlong in the whole field at 11.58. But she definitely needs further. So a tactical race. James Doyle got it spot on. They let Spiritual go. They let James Doyle go on Carla's Way. And Carla's Way was not for pegging back. If you let a fast filly go on the Rolly Mile, rolling along where she's got a bit of petrol left for the finish, you give her 5 or 6 lengths, you're going to be hard to peg back. It sounds like I'm underplaying what this filly achieved. I think she's very good, and the Crisfords have got their horses in tremendous form. She's a very good filly, but those in behind are also good. Shawari and Yilang Yilang, and if they were to race against this filly again, I suspect they would get an awful lot closer. Where's she going to go? She's in the Fillies Mile, and she's also entered in the Irish 1000 Guineas. A lot of fillies are entered in the Irish 1000 Guineas at this stage. So it's interesting to see where they go with her. I think her main asset is speed. She flashed it there, one really quick furlong, the 4th furlong, 11.03, and it might always be that she wants 6 or 7 furlongs, but I'm sure they will eventually give a mile a spin. Remember Yilang Yilang over further for next year. Okay, we'll turn our attentions to Saturday at Newmarket now. Cambridgeshire Day. We will have a look at the Cambridgeshire, won by Astro King. It's the 340 contest in a good time, just 0.76 above the Racing Post standard. But a couple of two-year-olds firstly. Porta Fortuna, who won in a fast time, taking the 2:25, and Vandeek in the 3 o'clock contest. Look at that, Porta Fortuna just a tenth of a second quicker than Vandeek, even though Vandeek visually was a little bit more impressive. But the races were run in slightly contrasting styles. We'll start with Porta Fortuna. Donica O'Brien trains this filly. She was second favourite at 9-2, behind Jasna's Secret. Soprano 9-2, 6-1 Cherry Blossom. Sacred Angel 13-2, it was 12s. And bigger the rest. And it was Porta Fortuna then, who's obliged from stall 6. I mentioned Oisin Murphy was going to figure a lot in the programme today. Well, he's on Porta Fortuna for Donica O'Brien, beating Pearls and Rubies from 8. Keep a close eye on her. And Sacred Angel from stall number 1. So a nice Group 1 success for Porta Fortuna, who was back up in trip here to 7 furlongs. She's by Caravaggio. Plenty of stamina on the dam side of the pedigree, though. The dam stayed 10 furlongs. There she is in midfield, easy to spot. The sort of dark blue colours with the yellow armlets. And she sat quite handy. Cherry Blossom bowling along, taking them along just about in front at this stage. And Porta Fortuna is quite handy, where you want to be on the Rolly Mile generally, unless your name is Time Lock, of course. Now there is the winner, and there's the runner-up, Pearls and Rubies, who shapes with a good deal of promise when it comes to the course track sectionals. We'll get to those in a moment or two, but we'll deal with the pace first of all. It wasn't very strongly run, 103.71 the finishing speed percentage, so I think it paid to be close-ish to the pace, and that's where the winner was. I don't think they went mad early on. They picked up going into the dip, and Porta Fortuna shows a decent turn of foot. Her 5th furlong was impressive. She went 10.8 through the 5th. So that's the 5th of 7. She went 10.8. So that was the 3 to the 2. And she's caught Pearls and Rubies, who's trying to run on here a little bit flat-footed. But Pearls and Rubies does come home very strongly thereafter. Indeed, the runner-up, who I want to focus on a bit, was faster in the final 3 furlongs. She went 33.81. The winner, 34.06. Pearls and Rubies was just a little bit too far back. Remember Shuari in our previous contest that we had a look at, too far back, Yilang Yilang, too far back on the Rolly Mile. And perhaps the same here with Pearls and Rubies. Came home very quickly, but wasn't able to peg back the advantage that Porta Fortuna had, quickening into the dip, and impossible to peg back thereafter. I mentioned that 10.8 in the 5th furlong to illustrate my point that Pearls and Rubies was too far back. She ran 10.79 through the same furlong, so she was going just as fast as the winner, but she's got 3 or 4 lengths to make up, and it was just too far back. It's not necessarily jockey error, it's just when the ground's quick on the Rolly Mile, this is how it rides. It pays, particularly in races that are not overly strongly run, it pays to be close to the pace. If this had been a race with a finishing speed percentage of 94, Pearls and Rubies would probably have won, because they'd have gone far too hard and stopped. Everything is pace dependent generally, but this wasn't that fiercely run, and this filly was in the right place, Porta Fortuna. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, I think, is the place they are going to head with her. That's what Connections said straight after the race, and thereafter they'll get a handle on whether a mile is what she wants, and if so, it'll be back for the 1,000 guineas next season. You would have thought. She's a classy type. She handles all sorts of ground. She's won on heavy ground in the past. Here she's winning on quick ground. She's 4 out of 6 in her career to date. Been very well placed by Donica O'Brien to get black type prior to this Group 1 success. All roads for her lead to Santa Anita. Pearls and Rubies want to keep a close eye on. Racing TV tracker time for that one. Middle Park Stakes next up. Group 1, 6 furlongs, Saturday afternoon. Vandeek favourite 5-4. River Tiber 11-4. Task Force 15-2. Jassor 11-1. 14s and bigger the rest. We should have issued a speed ball alert before looking at that betting. Vandeek, your winner. And I say speed ball, for I quote James Doyle, who was on board this horse. That's exactly what he said. In fact, he said he was a pure ball of speed. Well, let's see just how fast he was according to the figures as we send them on their way. Stall 3 for him. Task Force second from 9. River Tiber from stall 8. There he is. He's a bit tardy into stride. I think that's quite a good thing for him. He's quite a keen going sort. He's a strong traveller. He's got loads of speed. He wants to flash that speed. He's better getting just a little bit of cover. Now you remember when he won at Goodwood, he was committed for home quite a long way out by Andre Etseni. He had to. Nothing was going as well as him. They're all stopping in front of him. Andre committed him, and then he got tired in the final furlong. So he's a horse you need to hang on to for as long as possible. Look how keen he is in behind. See him throwing his head around. Here he is in the yellow and black colours. It wasn't that strongly run in the early part of the contest for a 6 furlong race. 103.33 the finishing speed percentage. Remember, it was 103.71 for the filly in the Cheveley Park. So been run at a similar tempo, those two races. This was a little bit steadier if you look at the individual numbers through the final, through the first couple of furlongs. But it's his turn of foot that marks him out as being the speed ball that James Doyle refers to. He's able to quicken up really well. His 5th furlong, the most impressive one. Here he goes, 10.92, his penultimate furlong. And that just finishes his rivals off. He surges clear of Task Force and River Tiber, who are both towards the stand side. I don't think there was any particular track bias as far as this race was concerned in play. And he quickens up very smartly. That 10.92 was preceded by an 11.16 from him, telling us that he's just a very fast horse. Simple as that. He's a strong traveller. He wants a lead for as long as possible. And I do think that perhaps this really showed him in his best light. Decent ground, cover for as long as possible, and then quicken and go. And with a surge, put his rivals away with a penultimate furlong of 10.92. Now, he was fastest in the final furlong. I'm thinking of a bit more stamina here with a 12.15, but he was eased down a little bit by James. 12.15 suggests to me for that final furlong that he probably doesn't want to go any further, really. I think 6 furlongs seems to suit him ideally. So that begs the question of where next. Dewhurst, 7 furlongs, same track, cover, get a lead, quicken up. Not too sure whether 7 would necessarily suit him in top class company. He'd probably stay it, but whether it would suit him in top class company, I'm not sure. He's run about 10-1 for the Guineas. I'm pretty adamant that wouldn't suit him. He's surely a Commonwealth Cup horse, isn't he? He's a very fast horse. He'll be able to sit and travel in a race like that. He'll get plenty of cover, he'll get a lead, and then that speed that he showed, that smart quickening ability, 11.16, 10.92 on the bounce to put his rivals away. That would be very handy in a Commonwealth Cup where at Ascot, front runners struggle to win. They stop on that straight course. Horses normally come from off the pace to win, and that would be ideal for Vandeek, who was, I thought, well handled by James Doyle. Nothing against Andre Etseni, for he was unbeaten on this horse in this horse's first 3 starts, but James Doyle got cover for as long as he possibly could, and he was effusive in his praise afterwards. Right, the signature handicap on Saturday afternoon, the Bet365 Cambridgeshire was run over 9 furlongs, of course, and we had a warm order, Greek order, 5-2, on the back of what was a very impressive success last time up for Team Charlton. Oisin Murphy on board, Merlin the Wizard 8-1, Liberty Lane was 10s, Saga was 11s, Oviedo was 12-1, 14s and bigger. The rest, a race that was dominated by horses drawn high. There you go. Winner, Astro King for the Kublers and Richard Kingscott, stall 35. Second, Greek Order from 25. Third, Bo Pedro from 28. And if you were with Oviedo, Dave Nevison, stall 1. You were very unlucky. Let's see what happens in the Cambridgeshire then. This is a tremendous horse, Astro King. Relatively cheaply bought from Sir Michael Stout's yard, 36,000 guineas he was bought for from Sir Michael Stout's, and he's just gone from strength to strength in big handicaps since then. And he gets a dream trip here. If you want to keep an eye on him, he's hard against the stand side rail, he's got a bit of cover. Hard to pick him out, but he's there in stripes and a black cap. And he wins in good style from a horse who I think Greek Order was a bit unlucky in second place. How was the race run? Pretty evenly, really, 101.73%. You'd expect that, really, wouldn't you, with all of the horses that were competing in this. 3 groups, but you had to be stand side. And that's where we got the finishing speed percentage from the winner, Astro King. He managed to quicken up in the penultimate furlong when he got a gap against the rail, and he got a dream run. As we just have a quick look at horses on the far side, where Oviedo will win that race over on the far side. But he's about to get the winner, a dream split up the inside, whereas the runner-up, Greek Order, travels like the best horse, but he doesn't get a run when he wants it. Here's the winner. He'll get a split up the rail, get a perfect little run right up this rail in a moment. And as he goes, Greek Order has to wait for a stride or two. That might have been the difference between winning and losing. I'm sure Oisin Murphy wanted to open Greek Order up a little bit sooner, but he couldn't. Look at that gap now, right against the rail. Probably the place to be as well. Maybe quicker ground. And there, Astro's quickened up. Meanwhile, Oisin Murphy is in here, pink cap, looking for room. He's trying to find a gap. He's trying to come through here or through here, but there's nowhere to go. Eventually he gets out. It looks like he's going to win, because Greek Order picks up very well for him and runs on really strong. There he comes. He's got a gap. He's out and away, and he looks like he might win now. Astro King finding loads for pressure. He's game and he's tough. Greek Order, though, didn't get out in time to really open up properly, and Astro King really tough and game in the finish and sees him off by about half a length in the end. First four home then from those high draws. Astro King recorded a penultimate furlong of 11.62, and if you look at the final three furlongs, the winner was 35.97, the runner-up 36.18. That's the final three, but for about a furlong and a half of the final three, Greek Order was sat there on the bridle with nowhere to go. He's a smart prospect, Greek Order, for next season. I tell you that Greek Order was actually faster than the winner in the final furlong, 12.62 compared to 12.71. He was just beginning to open up, I think, and he was a little bit unlucky. But we mustn't take anything away from Claire and Daniel Kubler. They have done a tremendous job with this Astro King. They've got him going forward. It's fair to say they've improved him from Sir Michael Stouch. You don't often say that. And he's game and he's tough and he's got loads of ability. He's won this off top weight. I know the Kublers don't like to make much of that, but it's won off top weight, and this has rarely been won, this race, by a horse carrying top weight. In fact, the last time a horse defied top weight, 1995, just 28 years ago. So this is a big performance from Astro King. We need to mention Oviedo over on the far side and Dutch Decoy. They both ran really well on the far side group, but they had no chance. You wanted to be drawn high. I like the winner. He's got a tremendous profile. He's tough and he's game. He got a lovely trip against the rail under Richard Kingscott. But I do think the runner-up might be a pattern class performer next year, and another nice horse for the Charltons. Harry Charlton taking over the licence, as we said when we analysed Time Lock, and he's got another good one here in the shape of the lightly raced Greek Order. That concludes the verdict for this week. Plenty of nice two-year-olds on show, particularly I think Vandeek. It was very well handled by James Doyle. That ball of speed was really impressive out there on the Rowley Mile. The best time performance of the week on Racing TV was put up by Time Lock. I think that filly is a live one at a price for the Kipco fillies and mares. She's definitely a filly to keep a very close eye on going forward for the Charltons. And I like Greek Order there in the Cambridgeshire. I think he was a tad unlucky, taking nothing away from the winner, but he could be a pattern class performer next season. Some tremendous racing at Newmarket this week. I hope you enjoyed looking back at it with me here on The Verdict. Don't forget my Verdict extra column and the website. That'll be there tomorrow evening. But for now, from The Verdict and from myself, it's bye-bye.